Today we'll have a hands-on session on Python. I hope you were able to install Python. And I also sent you a data set a while back. It's a small data set. We'll just use it to perform some basic arithmetic operations. Okay. And we'll be primarily looking at this function called the group by function. Okay. So this is the problem statement that we have. Okay. So again, this is something that I have worked on from my previous experience. So let's say there are two engines, okay, and each engine has three parts, okay, and our objective here is to calculate something called as the MTBF, or the mean time between failure for each part. Okay, so this MTBF is something that is used to denote the frequency of failure. Okay, so in reliability engineering, this metric is often used. Okay, I will tell you what it is. So this section of the spreadsheet that you see where it says raw data, this is what I sent you just a while back. Okay, it's a very simple calculation, but also it's a good exercise for us to know the basics of Python, know some of the nuances of using those functions and the syntax of Python. Okay, so that's why I picked this example for today. So typically when you're talking about a reliability engineering part failure scenario, this is how the data is going to look like. Okay, so let's say you have something called as an event number. Okay, so this event is basically every instance where the part has failed in a particular engine. Okay, and then you have the engine number, and within that engine, which is the part that has undergone that failure, that is what is denoted by this part number. Okay, and then you have one more column called as part underscore TSN. TSN stands for time since new. Okay, so it might be something in terms of hours or days. So once the part was installed in the engine, once the part was fit onto the engine, how much time has elapsed, how many days have elapsed, or how many hours have elapsed, like that. So this line, what it essentially means is, in engine 1, part number 1 has failed after 12 hours. Okay, and same in engine 1, part number 2 has failed after 14 hours. In the same engine 1, part number 3 has failed after 10 hours. Okay, and then again, if you see in the same engine 1, the same part number 1, first it failed at 12 hours. Okay, and then after that it has failed at the 25th hour. All right, so like this, we have same engine 1, part number 2, first time it failed at 14 hours, and the second time it failed after 37 hours. Okay, so like this, we have another engine, the same set of parts in that engine. Okay, and finally, what we need to calculate is this metric called as MTBF, or mean time between failure. And how we do that is, we take each part 1, part 2, and part 3. Okay, wherever you see the blue shaded cell, that is the failure event for the part in that first engine. Wherever you see the green shaded cell, it is the failure event of that part in the second engine. Okay, so what does this mean? How does this number come? This is, so part 1, if you see in engine 1, it has failed for the first time at 12 hours. Okay, and then for the second time, it has failed at the 25th hour. So what is the interval after which it has failed? What is the time between these two failures? That is 25 minus 12, that is 13 hours. Okay, similarly, the same part number 1 in the second engine, it has failed at the 23rd hour. Then after that, there are no failure instances for part 1 in engine number 2. So that is all the failure instances that we have. And then MTBF, you just take the average of these three values. So these are the time between the failures. That is this 25. And 12 to 25 time interval is 13. And then again 0 to 23 for the engine 2, that is 23. And mean time between failure is the mean of these three values. So similarly for part number 2, if you see, first time it has failed at the 14th hour, and next time it has failed at the 37th hour. So the interval between first and second failure is, for engine 1, 37 minus 14, that is equal to 23. Similarly for the second engine, it has failed at the 11th hour over here, and then second instance of failure has occurred at the 32nd hour. So interval between first and second failure for part 2 in engine 2 is 32 minus 11, that is 21. Okay, again, this mean time between failure is the average of these 4 values. So this is what we are going to do in Python. Okay, so this looks easy because we have just 2 engines and 3 parts, but in reality, so for example, in the project that I worked on, we had so many engines, some 50 or 100 engines, and each aircraft engine, as you know, has some thousands of parts. Okay, so that is where we would need to use some software like R or Python. Okay, so we will be seeing how to do this in Python. Any doubts in this concept or this calculation, how we calculate this MTBF? Okay, so now what you can do is you can just open this Spider software. There are 2 ways to open it. You can either go to start and just type Spider, it will open, or you can launch that Anaconda prompt at that Anaconda Navigator. So if you have installed it, you will have something called as Anaconda Navigator. This will also display a screen where you have the option to click the Spider icon and open the Spider software. Well, for now, I just opened Spider directly. So this is the screen that you will be getting. Just let me know once you have opened Spider and once you have got to this screen. So this is nothing but once you opened it, I think by default you will just have this temporary script file. So what you have to do is you just have to give a file and then just click new file. So now you will have a new script file, a blank script file which you can use to type in your code. Just let me know once you have reached the screen, then we can start coding. Right.
Okay.
Simplest way to open is just go to start and just type Spider. You'll be able to open it.
Yeah, I have opened side.
Right. Okay.
Open side.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So now you can just click the file, new file, and it will open a blank script file. So all we now have to do is just stop typing. And as we have covered in the previous sessions, today also we'll be using the same pandas package to perform the data frame operations. So of course, the first step is to load the pandas library. So for that, you'll be typing this command: import pandas as PD. Now, pandas is the name of the library, and PD is an alias that you give. Here you can give anything, but people generally use the PD alias. And the purpose of using this alias is anytime you reference a function from this library, you can just type PD dot. So if you don't specify this alias, every time you have to type pandas dot function name, pandas dot function to name, something like that. So in order to avoid that additional effort, we are just giving PD so that it will be easier for us to reference. So this is the first step that you have to make, that you have to code. And once you type the line of code, what you have to do is you have to press F9. Okay. So pressing F9 will run the line of code, and the indication that you will get if the line has run successfully is, you see here at the bottom right window, you will, whatever line you have run, it will be displayed over here. Okay. And if the line has been successful, then you will get another input prompt over here. So here it's saying in 15, and then if the line has, since this line has completed successfully, it is giving one more prompt in 16. Okay. If in case this has some error, so let's say I'm just giving a spelling mistake. Okay. See now, if in case the line has any error, it will give you this error. So it will say something like a syntax error or value error, or what is the type of error it will say. If the code is correct, then you just run that line, it will not display any error, and you will get the prompt for running the next line of code. To run the line of code, all you have to do is place the cursor at that line and press F9. That will run. Okay. So once we have imported this library, the next step is to import the data set that we have. Okay. So the syntax goes like this. We first give the name of the data set. So I'm just giving it a name of raw data. I'm just saying data underscore raw is equal to. Now we will use this function pd dot read underscore CSV. Okay. So pd is the alias that we have used for the pandas library. So I'm just instructing Python to use the read underscore CSV function, which is present in the pandas library. Okay. If you are using an Excel function for your data set, then it has to be read underscore Excel. Okay, that's all the difference there is. And inside the parenthesis, what you have to type is you first have to type the letter R. Okay, so this is a Python syntax. Anytime before specifying the directory of a file, you have to give this letter R. Okay, and just after typing this letter R, what you have to do is you go to that place where you have saved the raw data file. So this is the data file that I sent you. Just open it. Yeah, so this is the data file that I sent you, this file mtbf-data.csv. Okay, and this is the directory in which I have placed it. So d/Perceptive Analytics. So I'll just copy this file directory from here and I will just paste it here. So this is the file directory. At the end of the directory, I will just give one more slash and I will put the name of the file. Okay, so I'm putting the file directory and then I'm giving a slash and then I'm typing the file name mtbf-data.csv and then you close the parenthesis. Okay, and once you have typed in the data, typed it in the directory, press F9 again. So this will ensure that your code is run. So once the data is loaded, you can look at the top right window for an indication. So you have now loaded the data set data underscore raw. So this is of a type data frame, and this has 10 rows and 4 columns, which is what you see over here. So the 10 rows over here and these 4 columns. So this is what we have loaded. So to see what the data set looks like, what you have to do is you just double click this data underscore raw over here. You have the 10 rows and the 4 columns. In case the column numbers are not visible clearly, you can just click this resize button over here. So this will expand the column so that the column headers are fully visible. Okay, so this is the second step. To read in the data file, you use the pd.read_csv function. Okay, everybody with me until here? Shall I proceed to the next step?
I'm with you. Oh, sorry, I got that.
Right. Okay. Anyway, I will send you the code at the end of the session. So of course it's a simple code only, so nothing to worry about. So the now if you see here, what we have to do now is basically we're just trying to get to this operation, right? So we are calculating the interval. So first failure is at 12 hours and then the second failure is basically the 25 minus 12. So this is the calculation that we have to do. Okay, and to make this calculation a bit easier, I'm just sorting the values, sorting the rows by the engine number and then by the part number. Okay, so in order to sort the data frame, what you need to do is there is a function called as sort underscore values. So we have to give that function. Okay, so this is how that syntax goes. Okay, so I'm not creating a new data set for sorting. I'm just using it in the same, I'm just sorting the existing observations in the same data frame. Okay, so this is the function sort underscore values. Okay, and this function takes in a parameter called as by. Okay, so within this by parameter of the sort underscore values function, we need to give the columns by which we need to sort this data frame. Okay, and there is a simple command in Python which you can use to know what are the columns present in your data frame. Okay, so it goes like this: data underscore raw dot columns. So data set name dot columns, I'm just typing it and pressing F9. If you see in the output window, you see it is displaying the list of columns in the data frame. So it has 4 columns. So event number, engine number, part number, and part underscore TSN. Okay. Now I need to sort this data frame first by the engine number. Okay. So I'll just copy and paste this name over here. And then within the engine number, I'm sorting by the part number. So all the part ones have to be within together. So I'm just sorting by part number. And then the first event has to come first, second event has to come second, and so on. So the third sorting parameter will be the event number. Okay. So like this, I've used this sort underscore values function. So dataset name dot sort underscore values by whatever columns you want to sort them. Okay. So by default, it will sort by ascending order, and if you want to sort by descending order, you have to give one more parameter. So that will be something like ascending is equal to false. Okay, so this will ensure that it is getting sorted by descending order, but I'm not doing this right now since we need to sort the events in ascending order. Okay, so once I type this code, I will just run this. Now let's see what the data set looks like. See, now you see all the part ones have come. So within engine 1, part number 1s have come together, then the part number 2s, and then part number 3s. Similarly within engine 2 also, it's the same order of sorting. Okay, so this is just for us to understand that calculation that we are about to do in the next step. So first step, I'm just sorting the events in the ascending order. Within engine, within part, I'm just sorting the events by ascending order. So this is the next step. Okay, and then after this, what we need to do is we need to perform the subtraction operation, right? So this 25 minus 12. So this is the operation that we need to perform. For that, we will use a different function called as the group by function. Okay, so how I will do that subtraction is I will basically create a new column in the same data frame, in the same raw data frame. I will create a new column. I will call it as time to failure. Okay, that is equal to, now we have to specify the formula of that column. So it's similar to how you create a calculated field in Tableau or a column or a measure in Power BI. So we specify the name of the measure first, and then we specify the formula. So name is time to failure, and the formula is basically in the same data set, data underscore raw, we will be applying this function called as group by. Okay, so group by, first is engine number. Okay, and the second is part number. Okay, so for each engine number, for each part in each engine, okay, what is the difference in the part TSN? That is what we need to calculate. So this 25 minus 12 is, these values are basically present under this column called as part underscore TSN. Okay, and here if you see in this group by function, I have given group by engine number and part number. Okay, the meaning of that is it will subtract this 25 and this 12. Okay, it will not subtract 25 minus 10 because 25 belongs to part number 1, 10 belongs to part number 3, right? But the subtraction has to be within a particular part, that too within a particular engine. Okay, so that is why we are grouping by the engine number and the part number, and then the numerical column on which we have to perform the subtraction operation is part underscore TSN. Okay, and the function to do the subtraction is the difference function. So that this diff function is basically calculating the difference between those two values within a particular part that is present in a particular engine. Okay, so this is the step that I am writing, and I will just run this step. Now if you observe, it is right now having 4 columns. Now just see what happens when I run this line of code. You can see that a 5th column has been created. Okay, what does this look like? Let's see. So engine 1, part number 1. So here these values will be blank. That the first instance, or the 12 hours, the 14 hours, the first instance of failure, it does not make any sense, right? Because it will there is no other value that it can subtract it from. So here the values will be blank. For the remaining rows, we have the 25 minus 12, that is 13, the 37 minus 14, that is 23, 19 minus 10, that is 9, and 32 minus 11, that is 21, which is the same as the values that you saw here. So that 13, the 23, the 21, this 9. So this is what we have. Okay. So this is the syntax that you will use to apply the diff function. Everybody with me here until now so far? Any doubts, questions?
No, all good from my end side.
Okay, let's proceed to the next step. Yeah, so this is basically these values now we have obtained. So this 13, 23, 21 and 9 we have obtained. Okay, so we'll still need the first instance of the failure. So this 12, 23, this 14, 11, 10 and 29. So these values are something that we need to take separately. Okay, so for that, what I will do is, it's a very simple thing. I told you that wherever this blank is there, that is the first instance of the failure, right? So I just need, from this data frame, I just need those rows for which this time to failure, that is the last column, this time to failure is not blank or not null. Okay, so that will give me my first instance of failure. Okay. So what I will do for that is, I will just take the data underscore raw, or let me just create a new data frame. I will just say raw underscore first failure. Okay, so this is a subset of this raw data, right? So I will say raw data dot loc. Okay, so this means I need only specific locations in my raw data. Okay, and what are the locations that I need? That is what I need to specify within the square brackets over here. So I need those locations where in this raw data frame, the time to failure column is not null. Okay, so from this raw data frame, I need only those locations where the time to failure column is not null. That is where this will be just a minute. Let me just do it like this. Okay, let me just put it as subsequent failures. That will be easy. We just do it the other way around. So basically what I'm trying to do now is, let me just take the subsequent failures first. Okay, so I'll just omit the nulls from this from that raw data. Okay, so I'll just call them subsequent failures, and I'm just creating a new data frame. Okay, raw underscore subsequent failures. Now if you see, it will have only 4 rows, which are nothing but this wherever the time to failure was not null. Okay, so that is the next step. All right. And then what we need to do is, we need to take the first failure. For that, I will write one more line of code. First failure is nothing but the minimum failure time for each part in each engine. Okay, so I will create one more data frame. I will give it the name first failure. Okay, and for this we will again be using the group by function only. Okay, so I'll just type data underscore raw dot group by, same within each engine, within each part. Okay, what is the first failure? So first failure is nothing but the minimum of this part underscore tsn. So for each engine, for each part, what is the minimum value of this part underscore tsn? So again the numerical parameter for the group by function will be the same column part underscore tsn. Let's copy this from here, paste it here, and then here I will use a different function called as the min function. Okay, so we are using the same group by function in the 15th line as well as in the 18th line. Okay, but the only difference is here we are calculating the difference in the part tsn, but in the 18th line we are taking the minimum value of this part underscore tsn. Okay, and the other thing, the additional thing that we need to add here is something called as reset underscore index. Okay, I will just run this line first and then I will tell you why we add that. Okay. Now I will run this line. I've created this new data frame called as raw underscore first failure. Okay, now if you see here, if you just open this data frame, so or this object, if you see, it is in the series format. Okay, so the 12, 14, 10, 23, so these are only the numbers that it is considering as a series. Okay, but if you see the other objects that you have in our console, it is in the data frame type. Okay, so in order to convert this as well into a data frame, we will use one additional parameter here that we call as reset underscore index. Okay, now if you see, this raw underscore first failure has been converted into a data frame. So now we have all the 3 columns. So for each engine, each part, what is the first failure time? So the 12, 14, 10, that is first failure time. Okay, so now we have the subsequent failures and the first failure, and the next step what we have to do is we have to combine these two things. So that is, so only after combining these two data frame we will get the this particular view in its entirety. Okay, everybody with me here until now? Any questions? Okay, so just 3 more steps to go. Now before combining these two data frames, what we need to do is the column names and the number of the columns in both the data frames have to be the same. Okay, so I'll use a similar command as to what I've used here. I just need to know what are the columns present in these two data frames. Okay, so I'll just replace the data set name. So in the subsequent failures data set, we have these columns: event number, engine number, part number, TSN, and time to failure. Okay, and in the first failure data set, we have these 3 columns: engine number, part number, and part TSN. Okay, now from the subsequent failures data set, I don't need all these columns. I just need engine number, part number, and the time to failure. Okay, so I just need to take a subset of columns from this data set. For that, I will be using this particular syntax. So in this data frame of raw underscore subsequent failure, I need only a specific set of columns that is nothing but this engine number, part number, and just copy and paste columns over here. And then the time to failure. Okay, so the syntax to specify a subset of columns is basically double square bracket, and within the double square brackets you need to specify what are the column names that you need from the data frame. Okay, so you type this line of code and then you run this. Now if you see, the raw underscore subsequent failure has only 3 columns. Okay, so similarly now in the first failure data frame you have 3 columns, but the name of this column is different. Okay, so subsequent failures, the name of the 3rd column is time to failure, but first failure data frame name of the 3rd column is part underscore TSN. Okay, so we need to rename this 3rd column in this other data frame. Okay, so to rename the column, there is a separate syntax for that. It goes like this. So the name of the data frame is equal to data frame name dot rename. So rename function is used to rename the columns. columns is equal to, here you have something called as a dictionary sort of function. You open this flower bracket, and within this flower bracket you specify the old column name, that is this part underscore tsn. Okay, sorry, we have to specify it within quotes, single quotes or double quotes. So old column name colon new column name. New column name should be the same as what is that in the other data frame. So I'm just using this rename function. I'm applying this rename function on the data set called raw underscore first failure, and I'm renaming this particular column, part underscore tsn column. I'm renaming it as time to failure. Okay, so I'm running this line, and once I run this line, if you see, now both the data sets have only 3 columns, and both the column names are both the data sets have the same column names as well. Okay, so this is the syntax that you'll use. Okay, everyone with me until here? Okay, so far. Okay, so in the interest of time, let me just move on to the next step. There's 2 more steps remaining. So now we have to combine these 2 data sets. So I'll just create one more new data frame. We'll just type data underscore 2. So to combine, so if you have worked with R, there's a function called as rbind. So it just stacks one data set on top of the other. Okay. So similar to rbind, we have some function called as concat in Python. This concat function is again available in the pandas data frame library. So from the library pandas PD, I'm using the concat function, and within the concat function, I will specify the names of the data sets that I need to concat. So I will concat these 2 data sets, that is the first failure and the subsequent failures. Okay, and it's very simple syntax. Just press F9 again. So first failure has 6 rows, subsequent failure has 4 rows. Concatenation of this yields 6 plus 4, that is 10 rows that you see here in this data underscore 2. Okay, and now you have got this. The final step is to calculate the MTBF. Okay, so again, that MTBF, now we have to calculate it like this. So each part, so this is where we are now. So we have combined this 12, 13, 23, 14, 23, 11 and everything. So that is what is given in this data underscore 2. Okay, now for each part you need to calculate the mean time to failure. Okay, so again we'll be using the same group by function. Okay, so I'll just create a new data frame that says data underscore MTBF is equal to, I will just apply the same group by function on this data underscore 2, the new data set that we just created. Okay, and for each part I need to calculate the mean time to failure, right? So part number, the column is part underscore, that is a column name. Okay, for this part number column, the numerical parameter is time to failure. Okay, and on this numerical parameter of time to failure, I am applying the average function. Okay, same syntax for the group by which we used in the previous syntax as previous lines of code as well. So first we use the group by function to calculate the difference. Then we use the group by function to calculate the minimum of the failure time or the first failure time. Now we are using the group by function to calculate the average time of failure. So that for that we are using the mean function. And since we are again creating a new data frame, I will just specify this reset index parameter. Okay, so I will just run this line of code. Now you see we have created a new data set, that is data underscore MTBF. This has only 3 rows, 1 row for each part. This is because we have grouped by the part number and we have calculated an average of time to failure. That is the mean time to failure. Okay, so 16, 17.25 and 16 is the same as what you see over here, the average of these values that you see over here. So that is how you use the group by functions to perform any kind of an arithmetic operation, when you have to group or aggregate that operation over one column or multiple columns, you use the group by function in Python. And also we, apart from the group by, we also saw a couple of other basic functionalities. One is to take a subset of columns from the data, take a subset of rows from the data, and also to rename the columns. Okay, so this exercise, helps us cover most of the basic features of Python. Okay, I will send you this code in a short while. You can, in case you have any doubts on the syntax or anything, you can just go through it and get back to me. Okay, so this is what I had for today.